The morning sky over Terra Nova burned with 3 suns. Children played in the parks, while their parents worked the vast agricultural fields that fed dozens of human colonies across the sector. General Han Ji-woo stood on the bridge of her flagship, the Indomitable, 3 days away from the peaceful world. She watched the tactical display and felt uneasy. "General, we're receiving another message from Ambassador Park Min-ho," her communications officer said. Ji-woo nodded. "Put it through." Park Min-ho's tired face appeared on the screen. He sat in the Galactic Council chambers, looking older than his 52 years. Ji-woo, the Council voted again. They won't help. The Krellian Empire claims Terra Nova's moon belongs to them by ancient right. Emperor Vraxis says if we don't surrender it within 24 hours, there will be consequences. Ancient right? Ji-woo felt anger rising in her chest. Humans have lived on Terra Nova for 80 years. We built everything there. The Krellians never even visited that system. "I know," Minho said quietly. "But Vraxis controls 40% of the Council through fear and bribes. No one will stand against him. I'm sorry, Ji-woo. I tried everything." The transmission ended. Ji-woo turned to her crew. "Increase speed to maximum. We need to reach Terra Nova." Captain Kim Dae-ho, her second-in-command, stepped closer. "General, even at maximum speed, we're still 72 hours away. Our fleet is scattered across 5 systems on patrol. We can't protect them." "Then we pray the Krellians are bluffing," Ji-woo said, though she didn't believe it. 20 hours later, the distress calls began. Ji-woo was in her quarters when the alarm screamed through the ship. She ran to the bridge, still pulling on her uniform jacket. The main screen showed Terra Nova, but something was wrong. Hundreds of Krellian warships surrounded the planet like a metal cloud. "Get me someone on the surface," Ji-woo shouted. "Anyone." Static filled the audio channels. Then a woman's voice broke through, panicked and crying. "They're firing on the cities. The shields are down. They're burning everything. Oh God, please, someone help us. The children. We have the children in the shelters, but the temperature is rising and the transmission cut to static." Ji-woo watched in horror as the Krellian ships fired their weapons in perfect coordination. Beams of superheated plasma rained down on Terra Nova's surface. Cities that held millions of people vanished in flashes of light. The oceans began to boil. The forests that produced food for half of human space burned in seconds. How many people live there? Dae-ho asked quietly. 4.2 billion, Ji-woo whispered. She felt cold. 4.2 billion humans. For 6 hours, the Krellian armada bombarded Terra Nova. They didn't stop when the shields failed. They didn't stop when the cities were gone. They didn't stop when the atmosphere caught fire. They kept firing until the planet's surface turned to glass, until every living thing was dead, until Terra Nova became a tomb. Ji-woo's fleet arrived 3 days later. She stood on the bridge and stared at what remained. Terra Nova still orbited its suns, but the blue and green world was gone. Now it was gray and black, with red cracks where the ground still burned. The orbital stations were debris. The defense satellites were slag. Nothing moved. Nothing lived. "General," the sensor officer said, "I'm detecting a data core. It's badly damaged, but still transmitting." "Retrieve it," Ji-woo ordered. They brought the data core to the bridge. It contained the final recordings from a shelter beneath what used to be the capital city. Ji-woo forced herself to watch. She saw families huddled together. She saw parents holding their children. She saw people praying. Then she saw the temperature readings climb as the Krellian weapons cooked the planet. She saw people screaming. She saw children crying for help that would never come. Then the recording ended. Ji Woo stood alone in her ready room hours later. She had sent her crew away. She couldn't let them see her cry. 4.2 billion people. Gone. Murdered. And the galaxy had watched and done nothing. Her console beeped. A message from the Galactic Council. She opened it with shaking hands. The Galactic Council expresses its regret regarding the unfortunate incident at Terra Nova. However, we must respect the internal affairs of member empires. We encourage all parties to pursue diplomatic solutions. Regret. Unfortunate incident. Diplomatic solutions. Ji Woo deleted the message. She opened a secure channel to Earth, to the High Command, to the leaders who would decide humanity's future. Admiral Choi Hai-jin appeared on screen, her face grim. We saw everything, Ji Woo. The whole planet watched Terra Nova die. They're calling it an incident, Ji Woo said. Her voice sounded strange to her own ears. 4 billion people dead, and they call it regrettable. What do you recommend? Choi Hai-jin asked. Ji Woo looked out her window at the dead world. She thought about the children in that shelter. She thought about the families who burned together. She thought about how humanity had joined the Galactic Council in good faith. They had followed the rules. They had been civilized. They had trusted the system to protect them. The system had failed. We've played by their rules long enough, Ji Woo said. She turned to face the Admiral. For 200 years, we've been the good neighbors. We've been peaceful. We've been civilized. We trusted that civilization meant something in this galaxy. She paused, watching Terra Nova rotate slowly below her ship. Emperor Vraxis and his council just taught us that civilization is a lie. They respect only one thing, power. They wanted to make an example of us, to show the galaxy that humans are weak. Ji Woo's hands clenched into fists. It's time they learn what monsters they've awakened. It's time they understand what happens when you back humans into a corner. It's time we show them that we tried to be civilized, but they wouldn't let us. Admiral Choi Hai-jin nodded slowly. What are your orders, General? Recall every ship. Activate every reserve. Unseal every weapons project the Council made us promise never to build. Ji Woo's voice was cold now, empty of everything except purpose. We're going to war, and we're not going to fight it their way. The transmission ended. Ji Woo stood at her window and watched Terra Nova's corpse. Somewhere in the ruins below lay 4 billion graves. She would remember them. Humanity would remember them, and the galaxy would learn to fear what it had created. 3 weeks after Terra Nova died, General Han Ji Woo walked into the Galactic Council chambers on Axis Prime. The massive hall could hold representatives from all 187 member species. Today, every seat was filled. Everyone wanted to see if humanity would accept its place or cause trouble. Ambassador Park Min-yo met her at the entrance. He looked even more tired than before. They're already trying to delay the proceedings. Vraxis has bought off half the minor delegates. Let them try, Ji Woo said. She carried a data pad containing the evidence of genocide. The whole galaxy is watching. They can't hide from this. They walked to the human delegation seats. Other species moved away from them. A few made gestures of sympathy, but none spoke. Fear hung in the air like smoke. Everyone knew the Krellian Empire was the strongest military power in the galaxy. No one wanted to anger Emperor Vraxis. The council chairman, an insect-like creature named Vex, called the session to order. His mechanical translator made his voice sound cold. We are here to address the human petition regarding recent events at Terra Nova Colony. Emperor Vraxis has agreed to attend via hologram. A massive hologram appeared above the council floor. Emperor Vraxis looked like a cross between a reptile and a bird, covered in dark scales with cruel eyes. He was ancient, over 800 years old, and he had ruled the Krellian Empire for 6 centuries. "This is a waste of time," Raxus said. His voice boomed through the chamber. Terra Nova was built on territory that belonged to the Krellian Empire by right of first discovery. The humans refused to leave. We enforced our claim. Ji Woo stood up. "You murdered 4.2 billion civilians, children, families. You burned an entire world." "I claimed what was mine," Raxus said, and he was smiling. "Your species is young. You don't understand how the galaxy works. The strong take what they want. The weak complain to councils." Minho activated the evidence files. Holographic displays filled the chamber showing the bombardment, showing the recordings from the shelters, showing children dying, showing families burning. The images played for 10 minutes while the council members watched in silence. "This is premeditated genocide," Jiwo said when the displays ended. "Emperor Vraxus planned this attack for months. He gave impossible demands, knowing we would refuse. He wanted an excuse to commit murder on a massive scale." "That's a serious accusation," Chairman Nex said. "Do you have proof of premeditation?" Jiwoo uploaded more files. Communications between Krellian military commanders discussing the attack 3 months before it happened. Supply requisitions for weapons specifically designed to burn planetary surfaces. Fleet movements positioning ships in advance. This wasn't about territory. This was about sending a message. Murmurs spread through the chamber. Several species representatives looked uncomfortable. They had suffered under Krellian aggression too, but never spoke up. "We demand a formal trial," Minho announced. "We demand that Emperor Vraxus be held accountable under Galactic Council law for crimes against sapient life." "Ridiculous," Vraxus laughed. "I'm an emperor. You're colonists. Know your place." Chairman Vex clicked his mandibles nervously. "The law is clear. To prosecute a sitting emperor requires a 75% vote of the full council. All in favor of formal proceedings?" The voting began. Jiwoo watched the display as numbers climbed. 60%. 65%. 68%. Then it stopped. The votes against prosecution came from species that owed money to the Krellian Empire, from species that feared Krellian military power, from species that chose survival over justice. "The motion fails," Chairman Nex announced. 68% in favor, 7% short of requirements. The chamber erupted in noise. Some species cheered. Others looked ashamed. Jiwoo felt something break inside her. Vraxus's hologram laughed. "Did you really think your tears would matter? The galaxy has an order. Humans are at the bottom of it. Accept your place or more of your worlds will burn. Perhaps Earth itself needs a lesson in humility." Jiwoo's hand moved to her sidearm, but Minho grabbed her wrist. "Not here. Not like this." Admiral Choi Haijin's voice came through Jiwoo's earpiece. "We're watching from Earth, General. The whole planet is watching. Give the word." Jiwoo took a deep breath. She walked to the center of the council floor. Every eye focused on her. Every camera pointed at her. Her next words would be heard across the entire galaxy. "We came here seeking justice," she said quietly. The chamber fell silent to hear her. "We believed in the Galactic Council. We believed that civilization meant laws that protected everyone. We believed that the strong had a duty to protect the weak." She looked directly at Vraxus's hologram. "You've taught us that we were wrong. Justice doesn't exist in this galaxy. Civilization is a lie. The strong tell the weak to keep them passive. You wanted us to know our place." Jiwoo pulled out a data chip and placed it on the council floor. "This chip contains humanity's formal withdrawal from the Galactic Council effective immediately. We no longer recognize your authority. We no longer follow your laws. We no longer believe in your system. She turned to face the entire assembly. For 200 years, we played by your rules. We were good citizens. We were civilized. And when one of your emperors murdered billions of our people, you called it regrettable and moved on. You've taught us that being civilized just makes you a target. Her voice grew harder. You wanted to see how humans react when civilization fails? You're about to find out. You wanted monsters? You'll get them. Because we're done playing nice. We're done being weak. We're done pretending that your laws matter. Ambassador Minho stood beside her. From this moment forward, humanity considers itself at war with the Krellian Empire. Any species that aids them will be considered hostile. Any species that remains neutral will be left alone. Any species that has suffered under Krellian aggression is invited to contact us. You're declaring war? Vraxis sounded amused. Your entire fleet is smaller than my home defense force. I'll burn Earth and every human colony before your pathetic ships even load their weapons. Jiwoo smiled, and it was a terrible smile. You think we've been sitting idle? You think we spent 200 years in space without building contingencies? You think humans don't plan for the worst? She leaned closer to the nearest camera. We tried civilization first, Emperor. We really did. We wanted to be part of your community. We wanted to believe in justice and law and peace. Her eyes were cold. But you wouldn't let us. So now you get the other option. Now you get humanity without the leash of civilization holding us back. Admiral Choi Haijin's voice came through, loud enough for the chamber to hear. Protocol Ragnarok is active, General. All fleets report ready. Weapons research teams have unsealed the Forbiddens projects. We're ready to show them what we are. You'll regret this, Vraxis said, but his amusement was fading. I'll make humanity extinct. You already tried that at Terra Nova, Jiwoo said. But you missed some of us. That was your mistake. Because the survivors aren't interested in forgiveness. We're not interested in diplomacy. We're not interested in being civilized anymore. She turned and walked toward the exit. Minho followed her. The entire human delegation left the chamber. Behind them, chaos erupted. Species argued. Some called for sanctions against humanity. Others quietly began calculating which side would win. A few sent encrypted messages to human contacts, offering intelligence and support. Outside the chamber, Jiwoo contacted her fleet. This is General Han Jiwoo to all human forces. The talking is over. The Galactic Council has chosen to protect our enemies. They value power over justice. So we'll speak in the only language they understand. She paused. Operation Prometheus begins now. Show them what happens when humans stop being civilized. Show them what we really are. Across human space, warships that had been hiding began to move. Weapons that violated every galactic treaty powered up. Soldiers who had trained in secret prepared for deployment. Humanity had spent 200 years building trust. It had taken 3 weeks to abandon it completely, and the galaxy was about to learn why that was a terrible mistake. 6 months passed after humanity left the Galactic Council. For the first 3 months, nothing happened. Human ships disappeared from trade routes. Human colonies went dark. The galaxy assumed humanity was retreating, hiding, accepting defeat. Emperor Vraxis celebrated. He held grand parties at his palace. He boasted about how he had broken the human spirit with one attack. Other species watched and learned that challenging the Krellian Empire meant extinction. In the 4th month, Krellian fleets attacked 2 more human colonies. New Shanghai fell first, its 800 million people killed in orbital bombardment. Then New Seoul was burned, another 500 million dead. The Krellian ships broadcast their attacks across the galaxy. Vraxis wanted everyone to see what happened to those who defied him. General Han Jiwoo watched the broadcasts from her flagship. She was deep in unknown space, surrounded by the largest human fleet ever assembled. 3,000 warships, all of them equipped with weapons that the Galactic Council had forbidden. "The crews are getting hangry," Captain Kim Dae-ho said. "They want to know why we're waiting, why we let those colonies burn." "Because we're not ready yet," Ji-woo said. "And because Vraxis needs to feel safe. He needs to think he's won." Engineer Nam Ji-hoon approached with a datapad. The young man looked exhausted. He had barely slept in 6 months. "General, the final weapons are ready. All ships are equipped. We've tested everything twice." "Good," Ji-woo said. "Send the signal." Operation Prometheus begins in 6 hours. Across human space, hidden fleets receive their orders. Admiral Lee Soman commanded the Ghost, fleet from the shadows of the Andromeda Rift. Captain Kong Yuna prepared her fighter squadrons on the edge of Krellian territory. Tens of thousands of human soldiers loaded their weapons and checked their equipment. They had waited 6 months. They had endured insults and attacks. They had watched their people die while doing nothing. But they weren't doing nothing. They were preparing. And now they were ready. The first strike hit the Krellian military base at Proxima Station. Prince Vexter commanded the garrison there with 200 warships and 50,000 soldiers. He was Emperor Vraxis's heir, proud and cruel like his father. Vexter was reviewing supply reports when the alarm started. "What's happening?" "Unknown. Ships entering the system," his sensor officer reported. "Wait, they're human ships." "But they shouldn't be able to." The human fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel inside the defensive perimeter. They appeared in perfect formation, surrounding Proxima Station from all sides. Captain Kim Dae-ho commanded the assault. "Fire," Dae-ho ordered. The human ships unleashed weapons the Krellians had never seen. Antimatter cascades that didn't just destroy ships, but erased them from existence. Nano-disassemblers that turned armor into dust at the molecular level. Quantum. Singularity bombs that created tiny black holes, swallowing entire vessels. Prince Vexter watched his fleet die. In 10 minutes, 200 Krellian warships became debris. The weapons didn't just destroy, they dissolved. Ships broke apart at the atomic level. Soldiers didn't even have time to scream. "Fall back. Everyone evacuate." Vexter screamed. He ran for his personal shuttle. Dae-ho opened a wide broadcast. "This message is for Emperor Vraxis. Terra Nova sends its regards. Proxima Station exploded." Prince Vexter escaped in his shuttle, but he watched through his rear cameras as his entire command dissolved. 50,000 Krellian soldiers died in seconds. Not from explosions, from weapons that unmade them, but Proxima was just one target. At the exact same moment, human fleets struck 47 Krellian military installations across the Empire. Shipyards, training facilities, weapons depots, fleet bases. All of them attacked simultaneously. General Han Ji-woo had planned this for 6 months. She knew where every major Krellian military asset was located. She had intelligence from species that secretly hated the Krellians. She had waited until she could hit everywhere at once, not in 72 hours. The Krellian Empire lost 60% of its military strength. Not damaged, not defeated, erased. The human weapons were designed for complete destruction. They didn't just win battles. They eliminated the possibility of future battles. Engineer Nam Ji-hoon watched the reports come in. "General, all targets destroyed. We lost 43 ships. The Krellians lost over 5,000. Ji-woo nodded. Phase 2. Admiral Lee Soman, you're clear to proceed." Admiral Lee Soman commanded the Ghost Fleet, humanity's most advanced ships. They used quantum stealth technology that made them invisible to every sensor the Krellians had. Her fleet had been hiding in deep space for months, waiting. "Take us in," Soman ordered. Silent running. Don't let them know we're there. The ghost fleet moved toward Krullian home space. They didn't attack. They just took positions around the core worlds, watching, waiting. A promise of destruction that could come at any moment. On Krellia Prime, Emperor Vraxis received the reports. His scales turned pale. His hands shook. In 3 days, he had lost more military power than in 600 years of rule. How is this possible? He demanded. Humans are weak. They're primitives. They follow the rules. His military advisor, General Threx, looked grim. They're not following the rules anymore, Emperor. They're using weapons that violate every treaty. Antimatter weapons, molecular disassemblers, singularity generators. Things we banned centuries ago because they're too dangerous. Then we'll use the same weapons, Vraxis shouted. We destroyed our stockpiles, as required by treaty, Threx said quietly. Humans didn't. They hid them. They prepared for this. A message came through on all frequencies. General Han Ji-woo's face appeared on every screen in Krellian space. This is a message for Emperor Vraxis and the Galactic Council. For 6 months, you thought humanity was defeated. You thought we were hiding. You thought wrong. Behind her, tactical displays showed the devastation of the Krellian military. We weren't hiding. We were preparing. You taught us that civilization is weakness. That following rules just makes you a target. That the galaxy respects only power. Her expression was cold. So we stopped being civilized. We stopped following your rules. We built the weapons you forbade because you knew how dangerous they were. And now we've used them. Ji-woo leaned forward. This is your warning, Vraxis. You burned Terra Nova. You killed New Shanghai. You murdered New Seoul. You thought you were teaching us a lesson. You were, just not the lesson you intended. Captain Kang Yuna appeared in a smaller window, her fighter cockpit visible behind her. We've surrounded your home worlds, Emperor. We're watching every ship you have. We're waiting. One more attack on human civilians, Ji-woo said, and we don't attack your military. We won't follow your rules of war. We won't send warnings. We'll do to Krellia Prime what you did to Terra Nova. We'll burn your homeworld and every Krellian colony until your species is extinct. Silence filled the transmission for a moment. You wanted to show the galaxy that humans are weak. You wanted to make an example of us. Congratulations. You've made an example. Just not the one you planned. Ji-woo's eyes were hard. We tried to be civilized. We tried to work within your system. We tried to believe in your justice. You murdered billions of us and called it regrettable. So now we're done trying. Now you get to see what humans are like when civilization fails, when the rules don't apply, when we stop holding back. The transmission ended. Across the galaxy, every species watched, some in horror, some in satisfaction, some in fear, because they realized that humanity hadn't been weak. They had been restrained, and now the restraints were gone. Emperor Vraxis sat in his throne room, surrounded by the luxury of his palace. Outside, his empire was burning. His fleets were destroyed. His military bases were gone. And somewhere in the darkness of space, invisible human ships watched his home world, waiting for him to make one more mistake. For 600 years, he had ruled through fear. Now, for the first time in his long life, Emperor Vraxis knew what it meant to be afraid. 3 months into the war, the galaxy was divided. Not between those who supported humans or Krullians, but between those who dared to act and those who stayed silent. Ambassador Park Min-ho worked from a hidden space station in neutral territory. His office filled with secret messages every day. 23 species sent intelligence about Krullian movements. They didn't announce their support publicly. They were too afraid, but they helped quietly. Another data package from the Valerian Republic, Minho's assistant said. Krellian fleet movements, supply routes, weak points in their defensive grid. Send it to General Ji Woo, Minho said. And thank them? Without revealing, we know it came from them. Across the galaxy, species that had suffered under Krellian rule for centuries watched the war with hope. The Valerians had lost colony worlds to Krellian expansion. The Torthans had paid tribute for 400 years. The Sindari had seen their home world occupied for 3 generations. None of them could fight openly, but they could help humanity in the shadows. Commander Bei Jinseo led humanity's special operations teams. His mission was simple: infiltrate Krellian command stations and steal information. It was dangerous work. His teams went where the fleets couldn't reach. "We're in position," Bei whispered through his communication device. His team of 12 soldiers crouched outside a Krellian intelligence facility on a moon called Thresh. "Security is heavy. They know we're hunting their data. Can you bypass it?" General Ji Woo asked from her flagship. "We can, but we'll probably have to fight our way out." Bei checked his weapon. "Worth it if the data is as good as our source claims." "Proceed. We'll have extraction ready." Bei's team moved silently through the facility. They used devices that disrupted Krellian sensors. They avoided patrols. They reached the central computer core in 20 minutes. Engineer Nam Ji-hoon had designed a special virus that could copy Krellian data while leaving no trace. "Uploading now," Bei said. "This will take 5 minutes." It took 4 minutes before alarms started screaming. Krellian soldiers poured into the facility. Bei's team fought their way to the extraction point. They lost 2 soldiers, but they got the data. What they found changed everything. "General, you need to see this." Bei transmitted from his escape ship. The Krellians were planning more than Terra Nova. Much more. General Han Ji-woo reviewed the stolen files with Admiral Choi Hai-jin. The documents showed planned genocides against 31 different species. The Krellians had been systematically identifying weak species and preparing to eliminate them. "This has been going on for 200 years, Choi Hai-jin said quietly. "They've already destroyed 16 species. We just never knew because they covered it up." "The Galactic Council knew," Ji Woo said. She scrolled through diplomatic messages that showed council members discussing Krellian actions, but deciding to do nothing. "They knew, and they allowed it. We need to release this," Choi Hai-jin said. "Let the galaxy see what they've been protecting." Ji Woo sent the files to every news organization, every government, every public database in the galaxy. Within hours, the truth spread everywhere. Species discovered they had been on Krellian target lists for decades. The Galactic Council's complicity was exposed. Public opinion shifted. 8 species formally announced alliances with humanity. The Valerian Republic was first. Their ambassador gave a speech that was broadcast across the galaxy. "For 400 years, we've been silent. We watched the Krellians grow stronger. We paid tribute. We surrendered territory. We did everything the Galactic Council told us to do. And they kept coming. They kept taking. They kept killing." The Valerian ambassador, an elderly female with silver scales, looked directly into the camera. Humanity fought back. Humanity said no. And for that crime, the Council called them uncivilized. But who is truly uncivilized? The species that defends itself, or the empire that commits genocide for profit? The speech inspired others. The Torthan Union joined humanity, then the Sindari Coalition, then 5 more species. They weren't powerful, but their support mattered. The Krellian Empire suddenly faced enemies on multiple fronts. Emperor Vraxus responded with characteristic cruelty. He ordered attacks on the species that had allied with humans. Not military targets. Civilian populations. He wanted to teach everyone what happened to traitors. VELARN colony ships were destroyed. Torthan trade stations were burned. Sindari refugees were hunted through space. 4 million non-human civilians died in Krellian attacks over 2 weeks. General Jiwoo's response was immediate. All fleets, new mission parameters. Any Krellian force attacking civilians is priority target alpha. I don't care if we have to cross the entire galaxy. We protect them now. Admiral Lee Summon's Ghost Fleet appeared wherever Krellians attacked civilians. They couldn't be everywhere, but they tried. Captain Kong Yuna became famous across the galaxy. She flew her fighter into impossible situations to save people. At the Battle of Torthan Station, Kong Yuna faced a Krellian dreadnought alone. Her fighter squadron had been destroyed. The station held 300,000 Torthan civilians. The dreadnought was preparing to fire. This is Captain Kong Yuna to Torthan Station. Begin evacuation. I'll buy you time. You can't stop a dreadnought with one fighter. The station commander protested. Watch me. Kong Yuna flew her small fighter directly at the massive warship. She dodged its defensive fire. She found the weak point engineer Nam Ji-hoon had identified in Krellian dreadnought design. A small access port near the main reactor. She flew into the port. Her fighter's computer screamed warnings as radiation levels climbed. She didn't care. She set her ship's reactor to overload and ejected at the last second. Her fighter crashed into the dreadnought's reactor core. The explosion was visible from 3 star systems away. The dreadnought broke apart. Torthan Station was saved. Humans rescued Kong Yuna 4 hours later. She was half dead from radiation exposure, but she was smiling. Did we save them? All 300,000 evacuated safely. Her rescue team reported. Kong Yuna's sacrifice became legend. Non-human species started calling human soldiers the Guardians. Children in allied species sang songs about the humans who fought for them. But the war wasn't just heroic gestures. Admiral Choi Haijin led the largest human fleet into the Obsidian Nebula to face the Krellian Grand Armada. It was the biggest battle of the war. 5,000 Krellian ships against 2,000 human vessels. The battle lasted 8 days. Human ships used guerrilla tactics, quantum stealth technology, and weapons that adapted in real time to Krellian defenses. The humans didn't line up and fight fair. They appeared from nowhere. They struck fast. They vanished before the Krellians could respond. They turned the Obsidian Nebula into a graveyard. When the battle ended, the Krellian Grand Armada was shattered. 3,000 Krellian ships destroyed. The humans lost 400 ships. The survivors limped back to Krellia Prime with news that terrified Emperor Vraxis. Humans weren't just winning. They were dominating. But Vraxis wasn't ready to surrender. Cornered and desperate, he made a decision that would change everything. If I can't defeat their military, I'll hurt their spirit, Vraxis told his council. Begin Operation Serpent Strike. Target human civilian transports. Target refugee ships. Target any human that isn't protected by their military. Over the next week, scattered Krellian raiders attacked undefended human vessels. 400,000 human civilians died. Not in big battles. In small attacks across hundreds of systems. Merchant ships. Colony transports. Medical vessels. All of them burned. General Jiwoo received the casualty reports on her flagship. She stood alone in her ready room, staring at the names scrolling across her screen. 400,000 more dead. More children. More families. All because she couldn't protect them. Captain Kim Dae-ho knocked on her door. General, the fleet commanders want to know our response. Ji-woo looked up. Her eyes were red from crying, but her voice was steady. Recall all fleets. Every single ship. We're done fighting nice. What are your orders? Ji Woo pulled up a tactical display showing every major Krellian world. 43 planets. 200 billion Krellian civilians. We surround them all. Every planet. Every colony. We don't attack. We just surround them. And we send Emperor Vraxis a message. What message? General Han Ji-woo's voice was cold. That if one more human civilian dies, we stop targeting military assets. We do to every Krellian world what they did to Terra Nova. We burn them all until the Krellian species is extinct. Daeho stared at her. General, that's genocide. Yes, Ji-woo said quietly. It is, and Vraxis needs to know we're willing to do it. He needs to understand what he's created. He thinks we're still civilized. He thinks we still have limits. She turned back to her screen. Show him he's wrong. Human warships surrounded every major Krellian world. They didn't hide. They wanted to be seen. Admiral Lee Soman positioned her ghost fleet around Krellia Prime itself. 200 ships aimed at the planet that held 400 billion Krellians. The message was clear. Emperor Vraxis watched from his palace. Human ships filled his sky. He could see them with his own eyes. For 600 years, he had ruled without fear. Now fear was all he felt. They're just sitting there, his military advisor said. Not attacking, just waiting. Waiting for what? Vraxis demanded, for you to make another mistake, Emperor. The Galactic Council called an emergency session. Chairman Dex contacted General Han Ji-woo directly. General, please. This madness must end. Both sides must show restraint. Restraint? Ji-woo's voice was ice. Where was restraint when Terra Nova burned? Where was restraint when my people died? Where was restraint when your council protected our murderers? We can offer humanity a permanent security seat on the council, Dex pleaded. Full reparations, new treaties. Just pull your fleets back. And if we don't? Then you become the monsters you're fighting against. You'll be no better than Vraxis. Ji Woo ended the transmission. Chairman Nex was right. She knew it. If she gave the order to attack, billions would die. Civilians, children, innocents who had nothing to do with their emperor's crimes. She would become exactly what she hated. But if she backed down, Vraxis would see it as weakness. He would attack again. More humans would die. The cycle would never end. Dr. Yoon Tai-jin appeared on her screen. The weapons researcher looked exhausted, but excited. General, I think I have a solution. It's experimental, never been tested, but it might work. Show me. Yoon displayed schematics for something called the Eclipse device. It creates a pocket dimension. We can phase an entire planet into it. The planet and everything on it would be removed from normal space, but remain intact, alive but isolated. How long would they stay isolated? We can set it for any duration. Years, decades, centuries. Ji Woo understood immediately. We remove Krellia Prime from the galaxy without killing anyone. Exactly. It's exile instead of extinction. They live, but they can't hurt anyone. Can it be undone? Yes. When the timer expires, the planet returns to normal space. They'd have no idea how much time passed inside. For them, it might feel like minutes. Ji Woo made her decision. Build it. Fast. 3 days later, a message came from Krellia Prime. Emperor Vraxis wanted to negotiate. Ambassador Park Min-ho handled the communication. What are your terms? Vraxis asked. He looked older, smaller. Fear had aged him. Unconditional surrender, Min-ho said. You step down. You face trial. The Krellian military is reduced to defense forces only. You pay reparations to every species you've harmed. And if I refuse? Then General Ji Woo gives the order and your home world burns. Vraxis laughed, but it sounded hollow. You won't do it. Humans value life. You're too civilized to commit genocide. Lieutenant Oh Sung-yoon stood next to Minho. The young soldier had lost his entire family on Terra Nova. He had volunteered for the most dangerous missions. He had killed more Krellians than anyone in the human military. He spoke now, his voice full of rage. "You think we're still civilized? You killed my family, my world. Everyone I loved burned because of you. And you think I wouldn't push the button? General Ji-woo is the only reason you're still alive. She's trying to be better than you. But there are millions of humans like me. We want revenge. We want your species dead." Sung-yun leaned closer to the camera. "So here's the truth, Emperor. If you refuse surrender, Ji-woo will order the attack. And I'll volunteer to fire the first shot. I'll watch Krellia Prime burn, and I'll smile. Because that's what you created. That's what happens when you murder billions of people. You don't get mercy. You get justice." The transmission ended. On Krellia Prime, Emperor Vraxis sat in silence. He realized the truth. Humans weren't bluffing. They would really do it. They had been pushed past the point of civilization, past the point of mercy. They were one word away from becoming exactly what Vraxis had always been. General Han Ji-woo visited Lieutenant Oh Sung-yun in his quarters. The young man sat alone, staring at a photo of his family. "Would you really do it?" Ji-woo asked. "Would you really burn Krellia Prime?" Sung-yun looked up. "Yes, General." Without hesitation. "They deserve it." "They do," Ji-woo agreed. "Vraxis deserves it. His military commanders deserve it. But what about the children on that planet? The families who never hurt anyone? Do they deserve to burn because their emperor is a monster?" They didn't stop him. Neither did the Galactic Council. Should we burn all 43 Krellian worlds? Should we kill 200 billion people? Where does it end? Sung-yun was quiet for a long time. "I don't know, General. I just know I'm tired of losing people. I'm tired of being civilized while they kill us." Ji-woo sat down beside him. "So am I, but if we become like them, Terra Nova died for nothing. Everyone we lost died for nothing. Because we'll prove that civilization was always fake. That the galaxy really is just about who's strongest. What's the alternative? Let them go unpunished? No, but we can punish without genocide. We can show the galaxy that humans are better. That we choose to be civilized even when we don't have to be." 2 days later, Dr. Yoon Taijin confirmed the Eclipse device was ready. Admiral Choi Haijin positioned it in orbit around Krellia Prime. The entire galaxy watched. Every species knew something was about to happen. General Han Ji-woo made one final transmission to Emperor Vraxis. "This is your last chance. Surrender or face the consequences." Vraxis looked into the camera. He was surrounded by his guards in his fortified palace. "I am Emperor of the Krellian Empire. I do not surrender to primitives. Do your worst, human." "As you wish, Ji-wee Shidot," she gave the order. The Eclipse device activated. A massive field of energy surrounded Krellia Prime. The planet shimmered, then it vanished. 400 billion Krellians gone in an instant. The galaxy gasped. Species across all sectors waited for the confirmation. Had humanity just committed genocide? Ji-woo broadcast on all channels. Emperor Vraxis refused to surrender. He threatened more violence. He showed no remorse for the billions he murdered. "So we have removed his capacity to harm anyone." She paused. "Krellia Prime still exists. Every Krellian on that planet is alive. We didn't kill them. We isolated them. They've been placed in a stable pocket dimension for 100 years. When that time expires, their planet will return to normal space." She looked directly into the camera. "We could have burned them. We could have done to them what they did to Terra Nova. We had the power. We had the justification. We had the anger. But we chose mercy instead, because that's what separates us from Emperor Vraxis. That's what makes us better. A recording played showing the final moments on Krellia Prime. Emperor Vraxis in his palace, suddenly frozen in time as the dimensional shift took effect. His final words preserved forever. You should have killed us all. We would have. Ji Woo's voice came back. Yes, Emperor, you would have. That's the difference between your species and mine. You choose cruelty. We choose restraint. You value power. We value justice. You wanted to show the galaxy that might makes right. We're showing them that right makes might. Across the galaxy, 43 Krellian colonies surrendered immediately. They didn't want to disappear like their home world. They accepted human oversight. They agreed to disarm. They promised peace. 20-7 species sent formal requests for human protection. They had watched humanity fight the strongest empire in the galaxy and win without becoming monsters. They wanted that same protection. The Galactic Council dissolved within a week. No one trusted it anymore. In its place, Ambassador Park Mino helped establish the new Galactic Union. Humanity didn't rule it, but everyone understood that humans enforced it. General Han Ji-woo announced the Terran Accord. Any species that committed genocide would face immediate human intervention. Any species that attacked civilians would face human justice. Any species that tried to rule through fear would be removed from power. 3 months later, Ji-woo stood on a memorial station orbiting Terra Nova. The dead world rotated below her, forever a reminder of what had started everything. A young alien child approached her. A Valerian, silver scales shining. Excuse me, General Ji-woo? Can I ask you something? Of course. My parents say humans are the most feared species in the galaxy now. Is that true? Ji-woo knelt down to the child's level. It's true. Many species fear us. Why? Because we showed them what happens when you push us too far. We tried to be peaceful. We tried to be civilized. We tried to follow the rules. But when that didn't work, we stopped trying. We became what we needed to be to survive. Are you monsters? Ji-woo smiled sadly. We can be when we have to be, but we choose not to be when we don't have to. That choice is what matters. The child thought about this. My parents also say humans are the safest species to be friends with, that you protect people who can't protect themselves. Thank you for trying, the child said, and ran back to her parents. Ju stood alone at the observation window. Terra Nova's gray surface reflected no light. 4 billion graves. She thought about Lieutenant Oh Sung-yoon, who had learned to smile again. She thought about Captain Kang Yuna, who had saved 300,000 Torthans. She thought about all the humans who had died and all the humans who had survived.